Hey there, this is Margaret Gill, and welcome to the top 10 speaking tips that I have put together for you in this little series. And I hope you're enjoying them, and I hope that they're making some sense. A lot of speaking is just common sense. Once you get over the fear and you've done your first couple of talks, you'll find that it's really all about common sense and just getting out there and just being fabulous. And if you're like me, you will start to enjoy speaking after a while. The thing that I've been most surprised about is that I actually learned to love speaking after being the person that loathed speaking. I was the most unlikely person that would speak. And the reason that I started to speak was because everything was going so badly for me. I had this big dream to start my coaching practice, to move away from the city, to live a different life, to do all of those things that were so expected of us back in the early days of personal development. Oh, the world would open up and we would follow our dreams and the world would be our oyster and all of those things. Oh, well, that didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is because I was so shy and didn't know how to sell myself. I wasn't somebody that was good at selling myself. I'd never had to do that apart from perhaps go to a job interview and interview for different contracts and things like that, which over time I got really good at. I knew how to answer the questions and things like that. And that was all the selling I ever had to do. And suddenly I was faced with selling myself. And I was the message, and I've never had to do that before, really. Even in bands, we had managers that did all that for us, and we just rocked up and played on the night. Oh, I'd love one of those right now. And so, yeah, it was disastrous. It was really hideous time. And one night I was at a networking event. I've figured out that networking is not my thing. I'm even now to this day not good at it. But I was at a networking event, and it was one of those typical big things in the city, and I ended up sat between on one side I had the ladies from one of the big law firms, and the other side I had the ladies from one of the big accounting firms. And of course what I figured out was they were there trying to spruik up some billable hours, so their companies had sent them along to try and get some billable hours up, i.e. get some clients. And so they were all there in their matching country road suits and their Nine West shoes and their just ever so nicely done little bob hairdos. And they were like clones. It was like sitting in a big bundle of clones, and I'm sat between them. Nothing in common. You know, I was so far from that person. And as I look back on it, of course, why it stuck so much in my mind is that was what I was running from. That was what I was so determined to get away from, was the corporate cloning that goes on, and those type of people that are prepared to clone themselves to fit the corporate model. And there was I sat between them. They were nice. Look, they were nice, don't get me wrong, but it was just one of those universal nights where a lot of messages were being sent to me. And Robin Henderson was speaking about networking, funnily enough. So I'd got myself down there because I wanted to figure out how to be better at networking, because I was lousy at it. I was lousy. And so I was sitting there, and she did it was a great presentation, and I took lots of notes and things like that on networking. And at the end of it, it occurred to me, as I was leaving the room, it occurred to me that every single person in that room knew who she was, and nobody knew and remembered who I was. And I thought to myself, Margaret, the power is at the front of the room. You've got to learn to speak and get yourself to the front of the room. And even if you don't do rooms this big, whenever you go to an event, everybody will at least remember you. For whatever reason, they might have hated you, they might have loved you, or something in between, but they will remember you. And that was where I started speaking. That was from that day on. I cried all the way home. I can remember I cried all the way home. Nearly a 2-hour journey to get back home after traveling a 2-hour journey to get down there. And it was just one of those life transformation things where I realized that as awesome as Robin was at networking, what I wanted was to be at the front of the room, like she had figured out she needed to be. And so she'd really nailed networking. She started to speak. And so what I want you to do is to have that exact same experience of getting your message to the world in the easiest possible way. And funnily enough, speaking is one of the easiest ways to get your message to the world. And it's also the thing that will make you stand out from the crowd, because not many people speak. That's the thing. Not many people actually get up there and have a go at speaking. So anybody in the room that you speak to will admire you, but it kind of puts you ahead of the crowd. So if you think about the people you perhaps went to uni with, or you went to training school with, or something like that, think about them. How many of them are out there speaking and presenting themselves as an expert in their area? Not very many. I'll bet you there's not very many. And I bet you the ones that are the ones that are doing well. And this is the key. When you start to speak, it opens up a whole new world to you. And you might have heard me say the E word back then. You're like, oh, but Margaret, I'm not an expert in anything. As soon as you hit the front of that stage, you are an expert at whatever you're going to talk to them about. That's what's powerful. Now, was I an expert the first time I went to speak somewhere? Oh, hell no, I was not. I spoke at the International Coach Federation as the novice coach on the night. So there was a novice, an intermediate coach, and someone who was really advanced in the industry, who was well set up and things like that. So 3 of us spoke that night. I spoke the worst. I spoke off notes, and I spoke with my head down like this for the whole time, reading off notes that I'd carefully written. And the funny thing was, at my little cute house, there was a lovely little veranda at the back that was raised up, and the veranda actually looked into the trees. And I used to stand out there and pretend it was a stage and practice my talk. And the very last time, this kookaburra came halfway through the talk, and it sat there and it listened, and very intently listened to me. And I finished my talk feeling really good about myself, and he sat there and he laughed, and he laughed his kookaburra laugh. And I went, I don't know whether that's a good sign or a bad sign, but it's too late. I've got to go and talk now. So I left thinking, well, at least I entertained the kookaburra. And on that night, I got a lot of compliments from a lot of coaches that I would never have approached to speak to them. They approached me. And it was such a confirmation about what it was that speaking does for you. Some of the coaches that, were legendary came up to me and thanked me for speaking, and thanked me for the integrity that I put into the talk and the level of emotion and care. And they also thanked me for some of the points that I made, because they realized from my talk, they realized they weren't supporting the novice coaches well enough. And as I speak now, I've got goosebumps. I've just got goosebumps over that. I had forgotten about that. And so I made a contribution to my industry that night, speaking. It was the very worst talk I've ever done. I didn't ad-lib anything. I broke all the rules. I absolutely broke all the rules. And yet I made a difference. And people approached me that would never have talked to me before. And I actually got to speak to some people and meet some people that I would never have met before. And that's what speaking does for you. It puts you automatically in another realm. Even if you do it badly, it puts you into another realm. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting you out there speaking. And I truly trust that you will take me an example. I used to sit between the IT department and the accounting department, the 2 most introverted, nerdy, weirdest people in the building. Of course, I loved them. I fitted right in there, didn't I? Fat right in there, I was going to say. That's good English, isn't it? I fitted right on in there. And I used to communicate between those and the management of so it's kind of like a triangle that I sat in the middle of: accounting, IT, and the management of the corporation. And I never had to extend myself at all, ever. And speaking got me out of that mold. And it now allows me to do these little videos and things like that, because I've got good enough now to pretty much speak without notes. But I have forgotten my topic that I was going to talk about today. So I am going to get my notes out, and I'm going to show you it doesn't have to be perfect to be perfect. My talk is about making an impactful start and an impactful finish. So it's a really quick little topic. What you need to get is what we call an earn the right, or some expert story positioning, or a signature story that tells the audience in a very short period of time who you are and what you're about. And you do that through your personal story. And it is generally the one you tell is your rock bottom story. And that's what I teach in courageous speaking and in inspiring speaking. I teach you how to craft one of these earn the rights. There is an art to it. And when you know how to do it, you can speak anywhere and own a room. Well, not perhaps anywhere that your who and your what are. So the people that want to hear your message, you will own the room in those instances, what they call own the room. And that's when you can hear a pin drop in the room. Everybody is listening. Everybody is looking at the stage. Everybody is looking at you, and everybody is listening to what you have got to say. And they may not remember what you have to say, but in the part where you're teaching, but they will remember your story when it is told in the right format. And that's what we teach in courageous speaking and inspiring speaking. So I really, really encourage you to come along and do courageous speaking, where you will tell your story in front of the class, which is only ever 6 people, and I'll critique you, and you'll leave having done the hardest thing you will ever do. You leave with it done. You actually do it, and you actually speak, and the other people in the class actually speak throughout the weekend. Easiest thing ever is to actually do it, and you leave having conquered that fear. And then you memorize that story, and it just becomes so that we could shake you in the middle of the night and go, tell us your story, and you can just start. Mine starts, it was a mountainside in Colorado, September 2006. That's the sort. I can say that anytime, anywhere, because it's so etched into my memory. And you'll notice as I went in there, by the time I got to September 2006, I was sort of starting to get into the groove. I was starting to get into the zone. And that's what the power, I'm starting to speak Australia. Australians have a real habit of just missing out vowels. They don't do vowels. Australia. Power. Yeah, the power of that start is really important, and the power of your finish is really important. So if all you ever do is get a really good start and a really good finish, then all you have to do is drop some very good points into the middle of that mix, where you're teaching what you teach and give great value in the middle of that. And you've got the recipe for a really good talk that will take you anywhere. And this is what we're about. We're about getting you started. Now, as you go along, will you need to do more speaking courses? You naturally will. You'll do them all, because I did. I went out and learned from as many people as I could, because I was looking for that one thing that would make me better, that one thing, that one more thing, that one more thing. And I still will go and listen to other people speak, and I like to go and learn as much as I can still to this day, because it's that sort of topic where you want to be skilling yourself up all the time. And the other thing is, you meet some really cool people who are doing the same thing that you are doing. Speakers are really cool people, because they know that that stage is a scary place, and they know that they've got to be bringing their best game all the time to the stage. But in the early days, we're not encouraging you to go out to speak to thousands of people. We're encouraging you to go and start speaking to small groups, which is what I did. In some instances, there were maybe 5 or 10 people in the room, and I started practicing on those people, where it didn't matter if I made a mistake, because they didn't really care. I'd come along to entertain them, and they were happy with that, and they didn't notice the mistakes, only I did. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to get you going out to these small groups, build your confidence with your little start, middle, and end basic talk. And once you've got that down, you can go anywhere. You can take it anywhere once you've got that confidence. But what I'm really good at doing is getting you up there as yourself. So I really encourage you to go out and speak as yourself, warts and all, because when you do that, you make a huge impact in a room. So to be a powerful speaker, it's really important to have a powerful start and a powerful end. Yeah, it's really good if you've got good stuff in the middle, but those are the two things that people are going to remember most: how you started and how you ended. And I can tell you that your story is the thing that they will take away and remember. I've had people turn up to learn courageous speaking who saw me 5 years ago, and they can pretty much tell me my story word for word. 5 years on, they can tell me that. It's like, oh, I remember you went to the mountains and, you met that guy and la, la, la. And it's like, really? And I say to them, can you remember what I taught you? Oh, no, I don't remember that. But I remember your story. And that's what we're teaching you in Courageous Speaking, is how to deliver those stories in a time-honoured tradition, in a time-honoured way. And once you get that, you can speak anywhere and be memorable and be remembered. And that's what's important. So thank you for listening today. And we've got some more topics coming up for you. And I trust that you're enjoying it. I'm certainly enjoying bringing the information to you. Hop down below, leave me some love, leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until then, be remarkable.